Good afternoon, everyone. How's it going, Queen, Robin, Biblical, and Brian? That's crazy because after the early run and price just started to sort of play a range, we were getting breakers going in both directions, and then you can see we have a bullish fair value gap here and a bearish fair value gap here. And this is, oops, sorry, went too far. And a lot of what we had pre-lunch was all of this. Dion, Tyriad, good afternoon. Ricky, what's going on? Yeah, Robin. The reason why it feels like a Monday is because we didn't have any high impact news. So you just get price for the most part playing in a range unless there's another reason for it to move. If it doesn't have a reason, like without the news, it'll most of the time just stay right in the area where it is. Maybe build up liquidity in anticipation of whatever that news day is. We had a lot of that last week as well. And I've noticed that if you get a good Monday and you have a Tuesday without news, it's this is what you're going to get. Apex, Robin. Oh, you're asking Queen. Oh, two more today. Yeah, definitely retracing back on us. Unless you caught the early move. I actually, oops, sorry. At 10, I actually took 15-minute breaker entry. Right, so it's on this candle right here. Let's see. Let's see what this looked like on the 5. Okay, essentially the same. So I'll change it to a 5-minute breaker. Yeah, Queen, I've been looking for that next bullish push since right around 10:30. Geez, 400 for an eval? Yeah, you gotta know that you can pass within maybe 2 attempts if you're gonna do that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. If you can pay 400 for an eval, you most likely can start a small account with $1,000 and grow that. Trade micros for a while until you get a decent size account. Got in here, 450, 1245. Okay. Mm, 30 coming in about 10. So let me go ahead and put our lunch low, since that'll most likely survive the next 10 minutes. There we go. Right, the consequent encroachment right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you did a good job, Queen, with the way price was between like 10:30 and 12. Taking your 50 handles was a good idea. Because shit, since it did that, it's only moved up 3 or 4 handles, but retraced 20. Scandal. Set close on this one. Okay, good, good. All right, let's see if it can stay above the green section, which is the new week opening gap. Yeah, I'm with you on that one as well, Queen. Seem to be agreeing with a lot you're saying these days. But yeah, the New York morning is best session for me. It's where you're most likely to get the move that you're looking for, the one with the low resistance. Um, like these high resistance liquidity runs here, like price still moves, but it'll take the entire session to get there. See if this becomes our lunch high now. Looks like 425 and 508 possibly. So it looks like halfway. Consequent approachment is going to be somewhere around the midnight open. Right on it. 67. Yep. All right. So our lunch high did survive. It's 20,508. We're now at 504. And then our lunch low is down here at 425. Very near to the 830 open. All right, so we got equal highs at 508.50. Hmm. All right, so on the 15-minute, we have equal highs at 519. All right, previous day high is 554. See what we have in between. Okay, so we got a bunch of little swing highs here on the 5-minute. Mainly this one at 547. think I don't have the new day opening gap in here, so let me go ahead and plot that just so we can see it. It's just ahead of us at 536. The consequent encroachment there. Yeah, almost. Okay. Previous day high gone. Takes me out. All the levels reached. All right. Tyria, so for the strategy, I would have entered here. This was the optimal entry. The optimal entry was here at 444. Here on the 5 minute. I mean, looking fine for the 1 minute where the optimal entry would have occurred. All right, on the 1 minute, it would have occurred here. 460. And so that would have been, you're on the 1 minute, that would have been the 1250 candle. So the very first candle of the macro, 1250 to 110, was your bullish entry. I got in late. So I got in when price exited the new week opening gap at 500 over here. And I took it to previous day high. Oh, sorry, Queen, you already said that at 1042. Sorry about that. Just saying the same thing. Yep. So previous week high, I think it's Friday's high. So we'd only need the day before that. Let me look at the daily chart. See where we are. Okay, so we're looking for another 130 handles. It's, and I am mistaken. Previous week's high was on Monday, but it could happen. It could. I just don't know what to expect when we don't have any news being announced today, and the dollar still looks bullish. So I'm not really sure today. Interactive Brokers, United Air, Pinnacle Financial Partners. Okay. Oh, but tomorrow we have Alcoa. Like, yeah, I have to cross-reference these with the top funds in Nasdaq to see which ones we most likely have the biggest impact. But if they do, then obviously that's on our close. So that final macro heading into 10 after 4 should be good if we have one of these big companies in Nasdaq reporting. I think you can do that through YouTube, Biblical. If I'm not mistaken, I think you can do it through YouTube. I don't have any other way unless you just want to shoot me over some change. That's other than that, YouTube has a method to do that. Session high. Oops. Say 594. Let's go. Yeah, from yesterday or Thursday actually. Wow, this is the first time we traded back to a new day opening gap since yesterday, just after it was created. Hmm. All right. Anyone still in the long holding for previous some highs from last week? Oh, we're in the 150 to 210 macro now. I completely forgot about the macro. Maybe I would have left my runner. Yep. Let's go down to 1 minute and see. Might get here. Yeah, I think just the order block not tapped is the 508. Look at that. Carried it back down to the new day opening gap, and back it went. Oh, bearish breaker. What'd you say on the? Oh, the 1 minute. Okay, appreciate it, Queen. Yep. Sure, yeah, the lesson that you learn from me is exactly the same, whether I tell you before I enter or I tell you after I've entered. The lesson is to follow the candles and enter when the setup is there. I don't know what else to tell you. In fact, I often ask, are there any questions or anything you want to know? You could have easily jumped in and said, hey, what about the trade you just took? Can you walk me through it? And but you don't. And in fact, the trade I just took was not off of a breaker block, so I wouldn't have even recommended that to you. Okay, sure. Um, well, you asked earlier where would the entry had been, and I mentioned that the entry, at least on the 1 minute, if you were looking at this time frame, the bullish breaker would have occurred down here. All right, so this is why it says your optimal entry would have been right at the start of the breaker at 1250. I was not on the chart at that time. I literally sat down at the chart as I was, starting with you guys. So I didn't jump on until 10 after or so. So when I got on, we already had hit the bullish run. Queen had already grabbed her 50 handles, 200 ticks out of her trade. And then I saw price trade back down into the new week opening gap. And when it traded higher and closed higher, that's where I entered. Now, it wasn't out of a breaker block, so that would have been more of a risky entry and one that I have less experience taking. But it is one that I've taken before and has produced good results. Now, I also, knowing that we were heading into 130, we were going to have a lunch high soon, right? And we were right near where the lunch high was. So in a lot of cases, what will happen is you'll get price that'll kind of stall 5 minutes before 130. And when it'll print whatever the high is right after 130, sometime it takes it the very next candle. Other times it'll take a handful of minutes. On this case here, it did at 126. It started to retrace, setting that high to then easily be taken, right? And if you were bullish, which I was based on the breaker here, which had already delivered 50 handles, and we had closed again above the opening price of the week, I then looked ahead and saw the previous day high as where I wanted to exit my trade. And so that's how 554 ended up being the level. And I'm not sure if you understood what I was doing at the time, but I went in and I marked every single swing high in this price run up that would get me to the previous day high, which was here. So the previous day high was here. Okay, it's not letting me drop it in. There it is. But I also marked up this high just so I knew which levels were going to be hit on the way up and where I might see a retracement so I could stay in my trade. And so I had all of those marked up, and I just checked them off as we were marching higher, and then eventually my trade closed. But you're right, I didn't trade here on the screen for you to see. But if you ever have any questions, feel free to ask. That's why I'm here. Not sure, News Vibe. I'm not being very optimistic about the range for today. If it continues up, it's be a surprise to me. I just feel like on days like today, we don't get a huge range. But I do have a few levels marked up from last week that were not liquidity points that were not tapped into. So we have the opening range high from the 17th, which I believe was Thursday. We also have the daily high for that day up at 594. So those all within range where we could see price go. After that, the next level I have is at 659. So you're talking another 60, 65 handles, which is still not that far away. So if you are bullish and you have the ability to take some off of your trade, then these are areas you want to take some off if you're seeking these higher levels, 660 and anything above that. Let me look at the higher time frame and see where the next big level is on maybe the 4 hour. 594 again on the 4 hour. After that, the next level is 657. So same levels, even on the 1 minute. So it's just liquidity levels or session levels from previous days. So that's what I would target. I would mark up 575. Well, we just reached that. 594, and then 659. All right, since we just reached a level here, and I know people were talking earlier about earnings today, let's go ahead and drop this in so we can see these are those that are announcing after the close. So sometimes during the 4 o'clock hour, you'll see price start to move as if news was announced. And it's in anticipation of this group of, looks like 8 or 10 companies that are announcing after close. But we'll revisit later in the week for Wednesday and Thursday. Anyone looking for that, it's on Twitter. It's an account called Earnings Whisper. Appreciate it, News Vibe. Look at that. There we go, 594. It's originally where I was hoping to have a runner, but I chickened out and took 554. But to everyone who held, congratulations. And you can see what happens during the macro. So if you're in a position already and the macro shows up, start looking for liquidity levels. It'll likely hit during this time. If you're not in a trade and price has been consolidating, look for the breaker to either be created or traded into during this time. Oh, excellent. Appreciate it, Lucky Cat. Good to have you. Thanks for jumping in the chat as well. Plus 1700. All right, biblical. Nice. Good work. Oh, Queen, you jump back in. All right. Well, yeah, good work on that one. Yeah. You know, one thing I would love to get good at is to be able to jump into a price run when you figure out that it's running and you're not in. Because here on the 1 minute, if you entered on any purple candle when it closed, the biggest drawdown you would have had would have been, you would have been down 20 handles if you got in at the close of 1259 candle. You would have had 20 handles of drawdown before price turned around and went up. Anywhere else on the board, and I know it's hindsight, so it's a lot easier to see, but that's something that would be nice to practice and to learn to do, because you can easily scalp that way. Yep. I think if you got in here at 504, you would have drove down to 498. So most of the time you would have had 5 to 7 handles of drawdown, and then price was taken off from you. Now this one is a decent one as well. So if you had entered here, 550, you would have been in drawdown to 531. So 19 handles. So twice you would have been in drawdown for 20 handles. Anywhere else on the board, if you got in on a purple candle closure, you would have had minimum drawdown, and then you would have just been in profit the rest of the way. All right, Biblical, take care. Ricky, standard deviation. Why not wait for the sale on all-time high? Terry, the reason why we don't wait for the sale on all-time high is because we day trade here. It may not reach, we've been looking for the all-time high for the last several weeks, so we would still be waiting. Unless I'm missing the question that you're asking. Yep. Terry, let me put that back on the board again. Yep, there you go, Terry. Here's the playlist by Ash Trades, which explains the unicorn model very, very well. It was recommended to me. I used it, found a lot of value there, and I've recommended it to a ton of people since, which I believe has helped them out as well. Sure. Queen, where was your entry? Let me see if I can put this. Maybe she already said it. Order block entry. Yeah. Also, so one of the things you'll notice when you're watching order flow is that when you have a downwards closed candle, which is if it creates a swing point, gives you an order block. When price trades above the swing high, it always trades back. And so when it closes above, you can always take that entry afterwards if you feel like order flow is moving in that direction. And so I'll just show you. It's very similar to when I mentioned just a second ago, you could have just entered on any purple candle and the maximum drawdown you would have had would have been 20 handles twice. Once on the very first candle, if you got in over here, because you would have had to ride this all the way down, and the second time over here, because you had these two large candles next to it. Other than that, if you entered on any purple candle, you would have had 3, 4, 5 handles of drawdown, and then price was moving in towards the liquidity point. Now, when you mentioned the order blocks, so you see I have this this ray drawn here from this swing high, right? So when price trades lower and then trades higher and closes, it always trades back. This is one of the few that didn't do it. So that's why I have it marked, because it didn't trade back. So when price is trading down, this is where I'm expecting it to hit, and then we continue. If there's still more on a higher time frame, more bullish liquidity points for us to take, I'm expecting price to hit here and then move higher. But everywhere else, like even if you look at this point, right? So this would be your block. Price closed above 1351. Next candle, trade it right back inside. And so you could have entered on the next candle and then push price higher. Let me see if there's some more areas. Yep. So at the very origin here, the block would have been here. Right. But it's the same as the breaker. So we got to close above, next candle, trade in, out it went. And then also when you get a retracement, if it taps inside, you can take it from there too. But I don't know exactly which candle Queen got in on. Let me see if she said. Yeah. Materia, one thing I want you to know is that I'm not going to trade every single swing, so every single move that happens. If price is moving higher and I point out where I think liquidity is going to be and it takes that point, I'm not setting up for the next trade coming back down. I might, but I'm not. I'm the type of person that wants to look for the setups that are high probability and not just look for every move that happens. Um, and what you'll find a lot of times is once you do hit a liquidity point, you'll get consolidation. So there's really nothing to do anyway. But yeah, don't get in the habit of rushing for the next move, especially if you miss a move, because all it's doing is building liquidity and it's gonna trap you. Nope, you most of the time won't see my entries, Daniel. $74-ish. Yep. Close lower here, trade it back in the next candle, and now we're moving lower. But I like how it's 2 candles. I would prefer it if the 2 candles actually extended, but let's see where the next one might be. Let's try this one. Let's see, 50. This candle closed 61.50, so it closed right on it. Now this candle is the one closing below. Let's see if we get a retracement back in. Again, I identified this as the area that needed to be balanced. Price traded above and skipped it. So this is where I want to see price trade to 508.5. Doesn't mean we'll get it, but that's what I want to see. Let's measure this too. All right, that's in between 71 and 78%. 50% is just above the new day opening gap. And that's on this leg. If I take the full leg, okay, just below 50% is the level I wanted to see hit, 508.5. We're tapping into for the first time since closing below. Let's see now if we trade lower. We also have this area that it could trade to. Okay, and we can move our macro markers. 557.5. Imbalance there. All right, this also became your bearish breaker. Go 30-second and see. All right, let me measure up and see where we are so far. Again. No, Martin, I wasn't aware of the hotkey. Buy now to retrace up to 590. Okay. You're saying with these two green candles. Um, I would just say you have a bearish breaker here. So to get to 590, you're going to invalidate this. Well, actually, you won't invalidate it, but you're going to trade above the breaker. You're also going to have to trade through the fair value gap. So let me see. Maybe the 1 minute doesn't show everything. Let me go to 3. Yeah, it it could work on the higher time frames. It looked like you could get that bounce. On the 1 minute, it does not. Um, One of the issues I have on the 1 minute is that you have, let's see, yep. So we had market structure holding a low here, and we traded below that over at 14.13, and we immediately traded back into it. But yeah, it's a lot of PD arrays on this 1 minute against you. You got the breaker, you got the fair value gap. We had market structure change here. So all of those things would keep me from going long. Plus, if you're looking at the range, you're still in premium pricing. So if you want to go long, try to do it in discount. So you want to look for a long below 514. So about another 35 handles or so. Even if you want to take just this leg starting at 1 o'clock or 112. Actually, you're really close to 50%. So you need to get below 540. So possibly look at something bouncing out of the new day opening gap if you're looking for something long. If we actually get a close lower this time, or if we keep getting wicks. You said 519 and 480. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, if there's some nuance to the market based on an election year that I'm not familiar with. %, there. Yep, about 15 minutes before the 250 macro is here. All right, we've got about a 20-minute stalling price here. Here in the yellow boxes here, you'll notice I marked up whenever price skipped a candle and didn't trade back into 50% of the candle. Like after this 1419 oh, I'm sorry, the 1418 candle was printed, 1419 didn't trade back into 50%, and it waited all the way until 1424 to get back up there. And then you saw price move a little bit lower. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulties there. All right, back down to the new day opening gap. Trade 536. Anyone jumped in at the breaker at 561? You're at 30 handles now. 15 busy. Yep. Yep. I got you, Slim. I see what you're saying. Yeah, we're trading right in there. I think I'm hoping it goes down to 508. That's the level I have marked up. And I believe that is the lower extreme of that busy. Sure is. So we might trade, if things go the way I've mapped it out, then we may go to the lower end of that busy, Slim. Yep. So we're new. So I marked them up here. The new day opening gap you see is the purple lines here, and the new week opening gap is a lime green at the bottom of the screen. Right. And if that's any indication of how price trades when you don't have high impact news, you can see we're very close to where we started Sunday evening and then last evening. And then here we are with an hour and 15 to trade, and we're still here on the second day. Yeah. So it's traded 2 full days, and we've just made 100-point moves up and then back down. Yesterday, I believe it was like 200 points, but macro in 5 minutes. So let me go ahead and move down to the one. Right? Did we bounce out of that busy, or did we even get in there? Uh, no, I'm not currently in a position, Queen. But I was looking short once we got the breaker here up at 562. And then I was looking for it to reach 508. The macro is here. Value gap above. Oh, you were about this one here. All right. Just took out that low before the macro by one tick. Yeah, I think they're referring to the 5 minute here. You can see it's pretty easy. Whoa. If we can go back to the 1 minute like we were on. I'm sorry, the 5 minute. Just so you can see how these highs, that's the trend line there. Here on the 5 minute. But we've definitely just taken out that low just before the macro. So I'll remove this line. 508.50. I want to see the reaction there. That would be your point. This would be your order block. Mm. Yep. Yeah, well, I guess here on the 1 minute, your breakaway gap would technically be this one. But yeah, and now that we're in the macro, I'm expecting price to go reach a liquidity target. So I'm still looking at 508.5. I think we're just now getting to 50% of that retracement. I'm sorry, of the bullish leg starting during the middle of lunch around 12:30. 50% is 513. Or 80. Okay. Hey, Vivian, what's up? All right, we got power hour in about 2 minutes, but I'll be right back. We just grab something to drink. All right, there's 50%. Let's see if price continues to push just a little further. I was looking at 508. We got down to 513, it looks like. Mm-hmm. Yep. Bullish hourly fair value gap. Appreciate that, Queen. Yep, it just showed up on the screen right here at the low. The 259 low created the parameters for that FVG. So yeah, let's see if we trade into it just a little bit, which would make perfect sense. You trade into it and bounce from there. 508.50, is that half of it? All right. Close enough. You say valid entry long. Yeah, I don't see a breaker. What entry model are you using, Ricky? Oh yeah, dollar did shoot up. You're right. It did as in 2 minutes. It did as much as the last hour range. Not that it's a lot. That's how lackluster the last hour was, but still, when you compare the two, it looks pretty active, and it pushed for a new daily high. Ricky, the reason why I asked, oh, there it is. The retest of the order block we bounced off of. I don't know if we bounced off an order block. What I see is we created a fair value gap on the hourly. So this green is the hourly fair value gap, even though we're looking at the 1 minute chart. I have my indicator put only the hourlies here. So this came from the gap between 1 and 3 o'clock. But what you can take along from is that we did hit off 50%. So we traded back, we retraced half of the dealing range already. So you could have taken along from there if that's your style of trading. Um, but if you're looking for the order block, I would wait until we get to 508. We haven't quite gotten there yet. So this is our last fair value gap created on the 1 minute frame. Mm, 15-second bullish breaker. Nope, not confirmed. Mm. 50% wick of 513. If you, oh, here you're saying if you hit the buy there. Oh, if I was going long, yeah, if I was going long, I'd put my stop loss right at 513. I wouldn't want to see price go lower than that. Maybe a couple handles lower, just to give it a little wiggle room. All right, let's see how this candle closes and then the follow up. Maybe it creates a fair value gap, which will give you a long entry. I think we did on the 30-second get a breaker, a bullish breaker. No return though, so confirmation, and then it's been pushing 10 handles since. All right, so we didn't quite make it to 508, just made it down to a 50% retracement, and then price pushed up 20 handles. Wow, that's crazy. Price started and stopped the macro at the same price. All right, we'll go ahead and get these set up for the next macro at the end of the day. Now we'll measure this leg. Right, consequent encroachment is at 557. Yep. Yeah, to your you'll get there. It'll just take some time. It's I'm yeah, I'm 3.5 years into my journey, and I still pick up things here and there. But the first, 2.5 years was just learning new concepts regularly, and then the last year has really been able to put it all together, mix it in with some psychology, and actually have consistent trades. I don't know. There are some people who can probably do it in much less time. I just was not able to. And part of it is, when do you discover the trading style that's going to work for you? So if you like the breaker block setup and you think that's the one that you want, then yeah, just study the playlist I gave you and keep tapping in every day. Ask questions. We have lots of people who will ask if a certain candle is a breaker as they're learning and trying to get better at it. And I have no problem checking and looking to see if a particular candle structure or candle sequence is a breaker setup. So if you think you see a setup, raise your hand. Don't be shy. That's absolutely true. If you scalp and you're getting 5 to 10 handles at a time, and then you take one big trade and you have a 50 or 30 handle stop loss or something, yeah, it'll definitely ruin all the profits you picked up on scalping. But if you're good at scalping, maybe that's the move. Just keep scalping while you use your practice account on the bigger trades. Okay, yeah, watch the playlist first. It's like 8 or 9 videos, but it's all you can watch them all in less than an hour, so it won't take too long. But yeah, watch the playlist first, and make sure that you fully understand it, and then come in with questions for the next session. 513 on the 15. Okay. Yep, that's true. I was looking at it from the 1 minute perspective, which is why I had 508 marked out. But it looks like the 15 minute is the one that got hit. Which playlist? Ricky, if you scroll up, actually, you know what? I'll ping it. Give me a second. I'll pin it. Sorry. There it is, Ricky. It's the one that explains the unicorn setup. Oh, okay, Dion. Yeah, no worries. No, if you have questions, go ahead and throw them out there. Don't worry, because like you say, you've been here for a week, so we could have probably answered some of those 3 or 4 days ago. Mm. Waiting on Adora trades. Okay, yeah, I don't think I've seen him. Yeah, that's a good one, Ricky. Now, when I look at a setup, so for instance, I'm always looking for breaker blocks, and it's the blue rectangles you see on my screen are always the breaker blocks. In this case, this one's pretty small, so this is not actually a bad entry. You could get in at the very lower edge of 561, and then you can carry your stop loss 3 or 4 handles above, and still only be 14 handles for each contract, which is actually pretty good. I usually allow up to 25 for a setup. If a setup has more than 25 handles of a stop loss, then what I'll do is I'll cut the breaker in half and only take an entry at 50%. And if it doesn't come to 50%, then I won't take that entry. So those are some of the things that you have to play around with. And once you start identifying the setup, and you can do that easily when you go into your back testing sessions, you'll start to recognize each breaker as it's once you see the range of the breaker, you'll start to realize where you need to enter for your comfort zone and for your account size. Not a fan of this bullish breaker. I just don't like the fact that it's in this bearish gap here. But we'll see. It'll probably just push price up into here. All right, we're almost at 3:30, so we've got about a half hour. Like your bullish breaker entry was from 1518 to 1529. Any of these. Put it on the 5-minute. Thanks to everyone who's hit the like button on the stream so far. Appreciate you. Anyone who hasn't, if you could do me a favor and hit the like button, I really appreciate it. And also, anyone who has not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. You don't want to miss out on any future live sessions. And you also want to gain access to the chat window. So make sure you subscribe. All right, as price pushes higher, let's see if it pushes right through this bearish breaker into the fair value gap. And I believe all of this is on the 1 minute, so it should probably drop down. Based on this model, a lot of drawdown. Yep. Yeah, drawdown is, it's part of the game. You'll have to accept that. DP is 570, volume balance. You're right, Miles. Those are the kind of things that you can't unsee. Those volume imbalances. And I'm now, I'm not really sure. Rupesh, not sure. I would like for there to be some sort of activity now, but we are getting close to the end of the day. As I mentioned before, we didn't have any high impact news today as well. These purple lines here is the high and the low of the new day opening gap. So we're right back where we started, the 1800 yesterday. We're about 10 handles above. So yeah, it looks like we're gonna have a doji candle unless something major happens in the next 30 minutes. Oh, sure. It's here, Ricky. The higher time frame fair value gap entry indicator. It's called FVG Nephew Sam right there. And these are my settings. So you can select whether you want it. If you have the first one selected, which is default, what that's saying is whatever chart you have, it'll give you the fair value gap. So as you flip through charts, it'll keep reposting the fair value gaps only for that chart. But what I do is I select the third option to say, give me the 1 hour on every single time frame that I look at. But these are drop down menus, so you can really play around with this. You can even put multiple up there. Your screen just gets really cluttered, so I don't really like it. And then you can, right here is what the label shows, so you can decide what you want the label to be. Election day, that could be. That could be. Yeah, if there's something, like I said, if there's some nuance to the market that happens every 4 years when there's an election, I'm just not as familiar. That was right around the time that I got started 4 or 5 months after the election last time. So I wasn't trading. I didn't even look at the market at that time. But it would make sense that the market would wait until the new president is decided on and then react as to what they believe that president is going to do in the future and how that's going to impact whatever corporations are in those indices. And that's especially true for us since we trade futures. Yeah, it's about 2 weeks, it seems. Yeah, about 2 weeks. Ten minutes to the macro. Yeah, Rupesh. Yesterday was really good. I liked yesterday. Today, yeah, today was good actually. At the opening bell was good, and then the lunchtime move, and even the move to start at 1 o'clock. Those two were good as well. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, yesterday and today not bad. It's just a lot of coil in action, so you get a big move up in the morning, and then you get it pulling back in the afternoon. Yeah, so far it looks like this is what our daily candle is giving us. Whereas this was our lunchtime move up. This was London heading into New York. Here, let's see where price is in 5 minutes when we get the 1550. Let's see where price is, whether it's in the bearish breaker or the bullish one. seconds before the next macro. Okay. Deep into the fair value, I'm sorry, into the breaker. Now let's see if the fair value gap is part of this bullish move here. All right, look like the move here is short. Let's see. Let's see if we get a retracement back into the gap, back into the breaker, right when we start the macro. Actually, we should probably raise this above here. 20, 40. All right, so it traded here first. So that ends this. No short. Yep. Then you could have taken the long. I thought it would trace here first. Whichever one it traded to first was the one that I would trust, since they're both valid breakers in opposite direction. But yep, no entry for me. All right. All right, Queen. Take care. Thanks again for joining. I appreciate you. Slow macro so far. Wonder if the earnings release coming in about an hour or a couple hours has anything to do with that. All right, everyone, 15 minutes left. Any questions or comments, go ahead and put in the chat now. Let's make sure we address them and take care of it before we get off. Anyone new to the strategy that may have some questions from the afternoon session, go ahead and ask it now. We do have some time now to go over that. Any previous examples or just something in theory or just whatever you want to talk about. Flips the high of the breaker, put a couple ticks inside of the fair value gap, and now price is crashing. All right, Slim, we'll catch you on the next one. All right, so I'm not really sure this bullish breaker is going to hold. I thought the bullish breaker was created to send price up to the fair value gap. Now that that's been achieved, wouldn't surprise me if we push lower and invalidate it. All right, 508 still on the board. Let's see if we can make it down there. Precisely why I was looking for a short at the start of the macro, but it traded lower and hit this bullish breaker first, and that turned me off to the trade idea. But it's exactly what I thought it would do. But that's typically what happens in price action now. It's like sometimes I am still surprised at what's happening, but for the most part, I know where price is going. It's just trying to figure out the timing, and if you can get the timing right, is when you get the big moves. Boom, 508. There it is. Let's see what reaction we get from here, or if it just keeps going. I was thinking we would bounce from there. It looks like at least on maybe the 15-second we did bounce. Take a little longer for the minute to close. Let's see how this candle closes and what comes next. Oh, I didn't realize we crossed over into 4 o'clock now. So it's almost 3 after the hour. Another 7 minutes. Candle looks more like this, or a price action for the day. Maybe we will just slow grind our way back up to the new day opening gap for a closure. Sure. 570. So that would be this one. So it's on the 1 minute. Yep. So whenever you see price change direction and quickly start moving the other way, then you want to look for swings on the other side. When it passes a swing, that's essentially a breaker, especially if it has a swing high there and a swing low here. So I could have drawn it here if I wanted to. But I just preferred this one. I think I had maybe dropped down to 30 seconds or something, and it just looked a lot better on the lower time frame. Let me go Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So here on the 30-second, this section looks better than what I would have seen here. So I like this one. But either way, you could have drawn it on any of these as it worked its way down. These are all essentially breakers where price goes from a high to a low to a higher high, down, closing at a lower low, and then trade back in and then continue its downwards trend. And you had the same thing over here. Price is trending down. Then all of a sudden you start seeing it pick back and go the other direction, start making impulsive displacement candles with fair value gaps. Then you go to the left and you start looking for swing highs that got taken out, and you make sure they had a swing low on it, and then that's a bullish breaker. Now you do want to be careful working on these smaller time frames. Like this is the 30-second. Usually I'll only want to get a 30-second on the low of the move. So if price is just continuing down, then maybe I'll look on a lower time frame for that first move back up. But after that, then I'm gonna minimum be on the 1 minute, but hopefully get up to the 5 minutes somewhere where I have a bit more confidence in price structure. But I wonder if I had drawn the other one, this high right here that tapped into the fair value gap. Just trade into this breaker. And if you look at that, consequent encroachment of this breaker that was a little bit higher, the one that I didn't prefer. Consequent encroachment is also the lower edge of this fair value gap. See, we're on the 30-second. When I move to the 1 minute, then we got this big fair value gap right here. So, all right, Brian, catch you tomorrow. Yes. So it stays on the chart as long as it's valid. When it gets invalidated, then I take it off. So if we're looking at this bullish breaker here, price is now traded through it. Invalidation of a breaker is the manipulation. So first, let me draw the breaker again. So it's 4 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's our bullish breaker. Once this happens and we close above, now we're just waiting for it to retrace back inside, and then we're taking an entry to some price higher than this. Usually you look to your left and you want to find somewhere where you think price, whether it's trading to a fair value gap, whether you think it's going to take the session high, whatever. That's when you start looking for targets. But so in this price structure of these 4 points, the invalidation is on 0.3. It needs to close below 0.3. So that's at 513, which is also this fair value gap that price bounced from. So we see it bounce down there again when it hit 508 for us, bounced out, but it did not close below. So this breaker is still valid. Now, for me to take an entry there, I won't take an entry unless price trades back to the breaker and closes above 50%. When it closes above 50%, that's when I start looking and thinking about whether I want to take that entry. Sometimes I'll still wait for it to come back and reconfirm. So that means closing above once again and then trading back inside. But other times I'll take the entry with a closure above 50%, especially if the candle that pushes above 50% and closes is a displacement candle where you got a good size range on it with some speed to it. I'll take that entry right when it closes. No problem, Mark. Right on time. 16:10, now 16:11. All right, everyone. Thanks for today. I don't see any more questions or comments. Yes, Mark, I'm only doing afternoon sessions now. Yep. Yep. So if you can hit the like button on your way out, I really would appreciate that. And for anyone new who enjoyed the session today, I'd love to have you join another session. Also would like to have you join our chat. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you on the next one. I'll go ahead and throw out that invitation right when we get off now. And so it should be up there for starting tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right. Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow.